The patent-pending ReCon target is the first pneumatic target of its kind, a totally self-contained, air-operated, long-distance sniper target. The AR-500 Silhouette will withstand years of hard use.
Hi, my name is Travis Gibson with MGM Targets. First of all, I want to thank you for purchasing the ReCon target. This is a great unit that we're going to be going over today, the setup and operation of. These targets are pneumatically powered. They don't need any electrical of any sort. It's all run off this compressed air bottle, which is actually a paintball bottle, which you can get filled up at paintball stores or scuba stores. Both of those will fill up these bottles for about $5 a piece. When you go to get these bottles filled up at the scuba shop or the paintball shop, you want to make sure that they fill them up to 3,000 psi. That's what you're looking for. That's the max that this bottle will contain. This unit will run anywhere from 3,000 psi down to as low as 150 psi. With a full bottle of 3,000 psi, you're going to get between 350 and 450 cycles if the target's set up properly and level and all that good stuff. When you get this unit, it should be laying down like this, and there's a lock that goes on right here to keep the target from opening. There's actually a handle on this side as well that you can use to transport it. This unit's set up with our sniper legs and the sniper plate that goes with it, just to get it up off the ground a little bit more. It makes it a little bit easier to level it. When you go to set this thing up in the field and start using it, the first thing that you want to do is make sure that it's good and level. And in the bottom, this is the splash plate, and there's just a little tab that you lift this up to pull it out with. There's a small bubble level down in the bottom here. You need to make sure that the bubble is inside the etched line on that. This is something that we've provided for you to just make your life a little bit easier when you go to put the thing together. Make sure that that's good and level. What that's going to do is make sure that the target is going to cycle to its full upright position every single time, and because if it doesn't, it can go part way and it'll just start bleeding air, which you don't want. So after you've got the target set up and level, the next thing that you want to do is go ahead and insert the air canister. Before you put this in here, there's a valve that goes in that's inside here. You want to make sure that that's all cleaned out, so you can take and use a rag to wipe that out. I like to use compressed air if you've got that. You can just blow it in there, and all you're doing is just taking any of the dust and fine grit that's in there and blowing that out. Okay, make sure you've got the full bottle. Okay, and what you want to do, this rubber retention strap is going to be in there, so you want to make sure that that's open. Then the bottle is just going to sit down here and thread right into the valve. They're pretty coarse threads, so the chances of you getting cross-threaded are pretty slim, but you just want to make sure that you're threading it in there straight. So when you screw this in here, make sure that the valve is all the way to the off position. So what you want to do is on the back here, unscrew it, which is going to be to the left, the off position. Just give it 3 or 4 turns and that should be plenty. And then you can go ahead and tighten the bottle in there. And when it gets to the point where it stops, you just want to give it just a little bit more of a turn. Okay? And what you're going to do there is you're making sure that that O-ring is compressing up tightly up against the regulator, which is going to keep the air from seeping out. So when that's snug, then you can take the rubber strap. There's a little tab down in the bottom of the box that's going to keep that thing in there and keep it from bouncing around, so you can transport that with the bottle in place if you need to. Okay. The next thing you want to do is go ahead and turn the air valve on in the back, because you're going to turn this and you're going to be able to tell when it opens up and actually charges the system. When it gets to that point, you just want to give it another, maybe a quarter of a turn is all you're going to need. And you'll be able to tell as soon as the air goes in there, because you'll hear it going and charging the system. So just turn this to the right, which is on, and it'll start to you'll start to feel a little bit of tension there. And then the other thing you'll be able to see is there's a valve down in the bottom here. This valve should be set, you shouldn't have to mess with it. But as soon as that valve gets charged with air, that's when you want to go ahead and give it another quarter of a turn. And it's going to be pretty snug, and that's exactly what you want. So now that we've got the air in there, the bottle's secured in there, and it's turned on and the air has charged the system, we want to go ahead and activate the target just to make sure it's working properly. Okay. What you're looking for when you push this thing down, you want to make sure that the target's coming to its full upright position. This is a reset bar is what this is, and basically there's a little bar in here, and it's got a section of coarse spring on it. That's what makes the cylinder open up and charge the system with air. Now, down in the bottom here, there's a little set nut, and you can take and loosen that up. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate this for you. I'm going to turn that air off. The slower you can have it reset and fully go to the upright position, the better off you're going to be, because that means you're going to get more cycles out of the bottle. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that down just a little bit more so you can see what it looks like. And when it's coming up at this rate, what's going to happen is this reset bar is not going to get fully activated if it's slow enough. Okay, again, we're in ideal conditions here, so it's working exactly like it should. Turn it down a little bit more. Okay, that's what's going to happen if you don't have enough air going to it. So what you want to do is go ahead and lift this thing all the way up, and then loosen the set nut that's on here. And you want to turn, if you don't have enough air, you want to turn the set screw counterclockwise. That's what opens the valve. Okay, and then you can test it again. That's still a little bit on the slow side, but if you're in ideal conditions, that's enough to make it work. Because what's going on here is when the target gets to perfectly vertical, it's go ahead and tipping the rest of the way over, and the reset bar here is being shut off, so it's letting the air come out of the system and stop it. Now, if you've got it turned on too much, what will happen is this thing will come up hard enough, the target will come up hard enough, and it'll hit its stops, and it'll actually bounce and fall back down. Okay, that's not what you want, because obviously it won't stay situated in the upright position. So when it goes down, comes back up, and it trips the reset bar, that's exactly what you're looking for. So when you've got it adjusted right, you can go ahead and tighten up the set nut that's in here. When you get this thing from the factory, all of these should be set in place. Sometimes during transportation the things will rattle loose a little bit, and that's why we're going through the installation instructions here and how to operate it. But it should be set just right to run in ideal conditions, you know, flat and whatnot. So that's the basic operation of it. Say you're done training for the day, you want to pull the bottle out. What you want to do is you want to tilt this thing slightly forward, and you're actually going to hit the reset bar and push it down about halfway down to where the air, you can hear it escaping the system. That's what you want. So it's going to, I don't know if you'll be able to hear this or not, you can hear the air escaping, and you want to do that simultaneously when you turn the knob to the opposition. When the bottles are empty, if you want to pull that out, the first thing you need to do is make sure that the valve is shut all the way off. And again, if the bottle's empty, just turn it in the counterclockwise position, and that way when you go to put the new bottle in there, it won't be charging the system, which will drain it and it won't get tight. So that'll be real easy. Just give it about 2 turns counterclockwise, and that'll shut the valve off. And you'll be able to hear it drain. The system won't be charged anymore. At that point, you can go ahead and pull the rubber retention strap off and unscrew the bottle. Just like that. Okay. One other thing I forgot to go over real quick, the splash plate, you need to make sure that that's back on there before you start shooting it, because fragments, if you've got other targets set up next to it, the fragments can come down in here and actually cut these air lines that are in here. They're real easy to replace. They're just a Kamazi type fitting, so all you need to do is pull the fitting in, pull the rubber hose out, and then cut it off the trim part and stick it back in there. They're high pressure lines. It's 1/4 inch, 120 psi. Readily available at most hardware shops if you ever do get one. Just if you put that plate back on there, you'll be in good shape. So to put the splash plate back on there, basically all you're going to do is you're going to take the little tab, and there's a little slot for it in the back here. Slide it in between these 2 rubber bumpers, and it just sets on there just like that. If you're going to have these targets out in a remote location and driving down to the scuba shop or to the paintball shop every day to get bottles filled, depending on how much you're using it, isn't an option. There's also an adapter that you can get from MGM. Basically what this is you can get a scuba tank. It's basically you rent it from the scuba shop, they'll give it to you filled, you can go get that thing filled up and bring it back. So it's a bigger bottle, and there's actually an adapter that we've got that you can put on top of the scuba tank, and you can fill these bottles directly out of that scuba tank. You're probably going to get between 30 and 50 cycles out of a standard size scuba tank for these bottles, but every time when you charge these bottles up, the pressure level in the scuba tank is going to go low. So you might get 3,000 psi into these bottles when you first start filling out of the scuba tank, but as the bottle volume goes down, you're going to get less and less psi on that. But that's an option. Like I said, you can get probably 30 to 50 bottle fills out of a standard size scuba tank with the adapter that we've got. Like all the rest of the MGM products, this is made 100% in the United States of America and assembled here at our factory in Caldwell, Idaho. Thanks for your business. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call at our toll-free number, which is 888-767-7371, or you can get us on the website, which is www.mgmtargets.com.